The upcoming play was covered by a lot of channels and social media, but it hasn't been covered by me yet. So, some insight others do not have about this play. Coming up next. Just to review in case you haven't seen this before, the following happened in the bottom of the 7th, so already into extra innings. The result turned out to be they allowed a run to score and Washington to win the Northwest Regional and go to Williamsport. Oregon just went home.
They're going to have to clean this up.
I really feel bad for both these umpires. You can do 1,000 things perfectly, but one mistake and it's all over the world. So what actually happened and what should have happened? This is from the perspective of a Little League umpire and someone who is knee-deep in the Little League International Tournament from districts on up. So a little more behind-the-scenes information that, if you ever coach a Little League All-Star team, you would benefit from knowing. What should the coach from Oregon have done? But more on that in a bit. Let's take this apart from the beginning first. Understanding the rules of foul fair is important. If this same situation occurred on a game I was umpiring at the first level of the tournament, the district level, I can assure you this would have been ruled a foul ball because the third base umpire called it foul. Once you call a ball foul, you can't undo that. The play is dead, and if you were wrong, too bad, it's foul. But the umpire at the plate called it fair. What about that? Well, two things. It only takes one umpire to call foul ball for that to overrule, even if he made a mistake. Calling foul causes players to stop. The ball is dead, and you just can't unwind that. Second, the third base umpire has this call. It's his call, not the plate umpire's. Based on every umpire manual I've read and training that I participated in, the plate umpire has foul fair calls up to the front of the bag, and the base umpire has foul fair calls at and beyond the bag. Had this been me at third base, I'd have yelled emphatically, "Foul, foul, foul," and killed that play immediately and undeniably because the plate guy called fair, and I already called foul. And I know the absolute excrement storm that's about to happen. I'm stopping this thing right now. Had I been the plate umpire here, I would have seen my base guy call foul, and so I would switch to foul as well, and again be loud and demonstrative about it. Then kick myself for messing up because that's his call. So this should have been ruled a foul ball, even if you think it's fair. As for video review, this is where the Oregon coach made a huge mistake. Not blaming him, because how would he know? Why wouldn't the tournament director or one of the other two umpires speak up? Well, they really can't, unless asked. It ultimately is up to the umpire whose call that was to ask for help from another umpire. The tournament director can only intervene if asked by an umpire or manager of one of the two teams. The Oregon coach challenged foul or fair. The plate umpire is clearly asking him what he is challenging. The call on the field was ruled to be a fair ball. The video review can't definitively overturn that, so the umpire comes back and says, "Fair ball, run scores." What the Oregon coach should have said was that he was protesting the rules interpretation, not the judgment call of foul or fair. He should have insisted on following the protest process, which has nothing to do with video, but only to do with a misapplication of the rules. His argument would be twofold. One, if any umpire calls a foul ball, it should be ruled a foul ball. And two, the third base umpire ruled foul, and that's his call, not the plate umpire's call. The call on the field should be recognized as foul. This would then involve the tournament director, and, if necessary, the protest committee. If he did that, what do I think would have been the result? Well, the tournament director would make a ruling, and regardless of that ruling, it would likely be appealed to the West Regionals and then possibly to Williamsport. Either way, the end result would be either 1, it's a foul ball, which is the correct result here, or 2, we would stick with fair ball and place the runners on first and second, or possibly second and third. The reasons for placing the runners would be if they wrongly determine that the plate umpire's call is what we're going to use, and because the third base umpire ruled foul, causing the defense to stop, the runners would be placed conservatively where in the umpire's judgment they would have reached. In the end, what did we learn? Well, if you're going to be a manager or the head coach of an all-star team, make sure that you understand your rights to protest a rule interpretation. But also know that once another pitch or play occurs, you are no longer allowed to protest a pass call, or, in this case, once the umpires leave the field since they ruled that the game was over. If you're going to aspire to the upper levels of the Little League World Series games and be on a four-man crew, you better have practiced four-man games a lot. Going to the regionals and this being your first time or only having a few four-man crew experiences is not a good idea. Had these two umpires done more of these four-man games, they wouldn't have both ruled on foul and fair opposite. They would have known which umpire had the call, and a late call is better than a call that disagrees with your partner. I really feel bad for both these umpires. You can do 1,000 things perfectly, but one mistake and it's all over the world. I hope the best for both of them, and I hope that the Oregon team was able to find some peace eventually in it all.